this video, we are going to be looking at the Games Workshop Warhammer 40,000 Astra Militarum HYDRA box set. Alright, so this is the HYDRA box set. So this particular box, you can tell by the different logo placement, even the logo type. That's clearly pre-9th, 10th edition. Okay, and the design, this is an older set. See, contains plastic miniatures. This is a Copyright Games Workshop Limited, so this is a 2013 box set. Let's take a look at what its components are. There may be some differences over the years, but it should still pretty much be standard. So here's the HYDRA set. Of course, this was made during a time when Games Workshop, in order to, I guess, streamline. So this was made during a time when Games Workshop had was transitioning from a mix of combination plastic and metal models. So back then, things like the Leman Russ Demolisher, for example, was composed of plastic for the Leman Russ base, and then had metal components for the Demolisher cannon, and then some of the turret bits. The Hellhound was the same thing. Armored Sentinels were the same thing. So around this time, GW was transitioning to making pure plastic kits, and then the plastic kits they designed during that time were combo kits, so you could make them into one thing or another thing. Yes, usually how it went. Okay. Nowadays, early 2020s, GW's kind of transitioned away from that philosophy, instead making a less customizable but highly detailed single model or single unit kit. So here, this, of course, the HYDRA. Yes, first I had a plastic HYDRA, and then it can also be made into an Astra Militarum Wyvern. Okay. So when the time this came out, this was the newer alternative to the Griffon, of which I'm not even sure if the Griffon, as of 10th edition, is still even in the game. It's definitely not in the codex. Well, it's not in the index. It probably won't be in the codex, and I'm not even sure if it's in Legends right now. Okay. So this was the new thing at the time, the Wyvern. Okay. So let's take a look at what you should get inside the kit. Okay. So I've already pre-opened the kit, but I haven't actually taken a look at details. Okay, so we have one sprue. Okay. Straight standard GW design of the time. Packed, pretty packed. I remember my old Leman Russes, the sprues were not as tightly packed as this one. So you have two sprues. Your Chimera Cassis sprue, and then all the bits that make up your HYDRA. And then you have, what is this? This is an instruction manual. So you have an instruction manual. It's pretty big. Looks like that's legal size. Okay. Put the sprues there. Okay. Put the sprues here. Okay. Sprues here. A little bit here. Okay. And then manual, and then a transfer sheet. Okay. Let's take a look at the transfer sheet first. Transfer sheet is Games Workshop 2020. So this is a newer reboxed, newer product, of course. This one has a 2020 transfer sheet. Component number 995101050112. Okay, and then has your typical standard Imperial Guard major regiment. So Armageddon, Katkan, Valhalla, Cadia, Tanaran, Turan, Mordian, Katkan, Mordian, Necromunda, Cadia. Okay, and then a bunch of other quotes and stuff here. Typical, it's pretty usable for any Imperial vehicle. Of course, if you prefer to paint most of these on, as I do, these things are just gonna pile up in your stash, but, well, you may want to use them for the fine detailed ones like the Imperial Aquila or the numbers, at the very least. So let's take a look at the manual. So the manual makes makes either a HYDRA with its autocannons or the Wyvern with its mortars, quad mortar Wyvern. Okay. So this is a plastic, so just standard non-glossy paper manual. stapled in the middle. So your typical things that you'll need to assemble. Yes, glue thin, Citadel glue thin, Citadel glue thick, and then plastic cutters. How to make your standard Chimera chassis tracks. How to make your standard chassis, except it already includes the weapon mount. So the base weapon mount, the standard Chimera chassis, you do not assemble. I mean, you have the crew compartment in the back, so you don't have this part. Okay, standard. Okay, and then your front mounted heavy bolter or heavy flamer, and then assembly for the crew, of course, the artillery crew. So whether you build it as a Hydra or a Wyvern, crew looks like it's the same. What changes are the guns. So you have one crewman standing, operating the weapon, another crewman probably acting as a spotter. You have some sort of balcony type thing in the back where the other crewman can stand. You have your weapon shield, and then you have the weapons assembly. So the weapons assembly either builds the dual Hydra autocannons over here, of which their stats have changed over the years. So build the Hydra, and then so it looks like everything is the same up until the weapon insert. So that should be pretty easy for you to either I don't even think you need to magnetize it, but easy for you to magnetize or even change the it's Chimera chassis. So if you can find a way to make it interchangeable with a Chimera, a Hellhound, a Salamander, or whatever, Manticores, Death Strikes, up to you. Okay. But as of this base kit, you can easily shift the weapons and change it from Hydra autocannons to the mortar, your Storm Shard Wyvern mortar. That's right. Okay, and there, that is your that is the manual. Still uses armor vehicle values. You can AV values. It still has stock ballistic scale. So these are, if I'm not mistaken, these are 8th ed or 9th edition stats. Okay, still have armor values for the vehicles. That's interesting. So let's take a look at the sprues. So the Chimera chassis sprue first. And you have the track assembly for one side, track assembly for another side, chassis, you have your tracks. So I'm assuming that this particular sprue is a part of the Chimera chassis spruette. So you probably get this whether you're buying a Chimera, an old Griffon, a Basilisk, a Manticore, whatever. So let's see. Games Workshop 2009. I know the plastic Chimera is a little bit older than that. So this is probably a redesign of the sprue itself. Okay. As for the actual Hydra weapon sprue, let's try to look for the label. So it says Games Workshop 2012. You can see. Right. It's hard to see because it's the same pen, but yeah, it's Games Workshop 2012. So this sprue is obviously newer than this one, and you have your Storm Shard mortars over there. So here you probably build them half. You have your Hydra autocannon. No, the Hydra autocannon. Wait, or do you put the autocannons on the Storm Shards? I have a feeling they made it so that you do that. So I think you do that. I think you do place the autocannons in the mortars. Yeah, it looks like that's what you do. So it's gonna be a little bit harder to have them swapped out because you're gonna be using the same structure when you build the Hydra. Anyway, so that's your front-mounted heavy bolter, and your heavy flamer still uses the older heavy flamer design, and the two nozzle, not the single thing with the slits. Okay, And then you have your crew. So it looks like your crew right here. So can you build it looks like you can build your crew. And if you have spare 25 or 28.5, depending on what you're going to be using them for round basis, you can actually build these separately and not use them for the model and use them as crew. Use them for your Imperial Guard army. Maybe a Master of Ordnance, maybe as part of a command squad, or maybe just as normal trooper, since you probably have a lot of last gun arms floating around. You can just give them the last gun, but looks that's a nicer suit over there. Of course, they kinda don't really match well with the newer 2023 Cadian re-release, but it's up to you. If you're an Imperial Guard player, you can make it work. Anyway, so these are the components of the Astra Militarum Imperial Guard Hydra set, which you can build either a Hydra and a Wyvern here. There you go. Okay. So, thank you for watching. Hope to see you in my other videos, and have a good day.
Hey, you made it to the end of the video. If you liked the video, hit that like button. If you enjoy similar content, consider subscribing to the channel. If you want to help us make more stuff, share the video with your friends and circles. Consider checking out our other channels. We have dedicated channels for hobbies, games, and other stuff. And I'll see you in the next video. OC Mallrat out.